Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the June 22nd, 2023 regular board meeting in the Sunshine Coast Regional District. I'd like to call the meeting to order at 1:36 p.m. and acknowledge that the Sunshine Coast Regional District is within the territory of the Sechelt and Squamish First Nations. The first item here is the adoption of an amended agenda. So we have an amended agenda before us. Is there any additions to the agenda? Hearing none. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda as presented? Director White, seconded by, someone put up their hand for me. Oh, okay. Director Stamford, thank you. All in favor? Done. Okay, so now we're on to the minutes. And so we're moving on to the minutes of the regular board meeting minutes of June 8th, 2023, which is Annex A, and it's pages 14 to 15. So, directors, are there any errors or omissions within the minutes? Hearing none, may I have a motion to adopt the minutes as presented? Director McMahon, seconded Director Gabius. All those in favor? Thank you, that's passed. So, we're on to business arising from minutes and unfinished business. Directors, any business arising from the minutes or unfinished business you'd like to raise? No. Hearing none, we'll just move on to, we have no presentation and delegations. So we're going to move on to reports, which is item number 3. And we have committee of the whole recommendations. Numbers 1 to 16 of June 8th, 2023, which is Annex B, pages 16 to 17. Okay, before we adopt the recommendations in a block, would any directors like to pull any of the recommendations for separate consideration? Okay, hearing none, can I have a motion to adopt recommendations? Yes, Director Stamford, seconded Director Gabius, and no further discussions. All those in favor? Any opposed? No, it passes. So we're on to item number 4, which is the Electoral Area Services Committee recommendations numbers 1 to 8 of June 15th, 2023, which is in our package. It's Annex C. Can I click on that? Pages 18 to 22. So before we adopt those recommendations as a block, would directors like to pull any of the recommendations for separate consideration? Okay, hearing none. Can I have a motion to accept those recommendations, please? Director Stamford, Director Gabius, thank you. All those in favor? Any opposed? No, those passes then. Yes, Director Stamford.
So just for information, those people in the gallery that are here for Hopkins Landing recommendation, that just passed in the EAS block. So that's passed on as a board decision now. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Stamford. Okay, So we're moving on to item number 5, which is placement of notice on title. And our chief building official, Manager Kennett, will be introducing it. It's Annex D, pages 21 to 24. So if everybody is there, Mr. Kennett, can you?
Thank you, Chair. As an introduction, the community charter provides the authority to the regional district to place a notice on title for building contravention matters based on a recommendation from a building official. Today's report outlines 2 properties where such recommendations are being made. Neither of the owners of the subject properties have requested to be heard in advance of today's meeting. Staff are more than happy to answer any questions that the board may have.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions on these? Yes, Director Stanford, please.
Yes, thank you. Through the chair, on page 22, there's a comment right by the picture of the deck that the building permit could not be issued and later expired as an application for development permit was never received. I wasn't quite clear on why the building permit could not be issued. I didn't quite get the connection there.
Mr. Kennett?
Thank you for the question through the chair. In accordance with our OCP and our building bylaw, we can only issue a building permit once a development permit has been issued if the construction is located within an identified area.
Thank you. Director McMahon?
Yeah, this is more of a general question because we've had a number of these notices on title coming to us. When a stop work order is issued, if the building contractor keeps building, is there any liability associated with the building contractor for continuing to work in defiance of a stop work order?
Manager Kennett?
Thank you for the questions to the board. Even though the contractor can be penalized for contravening the stop work order, it's the owner that ultimately bears all responsibility according to the code and our bylaws. So in terms of liability, it typically falls strictly on the owner.
Thank you. I don't see any more questions. Would someone like to make a motion on?
I'll move the recommendations on page 21 as presented.
Thank you. We have a seconder? Yes, Director McMahon. Any further yes? Okay. I was advised that we should be doing these separately, so would that motion be for number 1 then?
Yes, that's correct, Chair.
Thank you. So we're going to be voting on number 1. So we have a motion, we have it seconded. All those in favor? Any opposed? That passes. Could we have a motion for the second part of that then, please? Yes, Director Stanford? Oh, motion's made for number 2, second block of that. Everybody clear on that? Yes, okay, seconded by Director McMahon. Okay, let's have a vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? No, that passes. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You missed it, John. You missed it.
You guys are the best. I can't help but agree with him. Okay, we're on to item number 6, which is Annex E, pages 25 to 27. And it's a request for proposal for a contract award for Seashell Landfill Biocover Feasibility Study Phase 2. And the manager of capital projects, Mr. Soji, I believe, will introduce this for us. Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, yeah, thank you, through the chair. This report is to request award of a contract to complete the Seashell Landfill Biocover Feasibility Study Phase 2. The Phase 1 study showed that a biocover has the potential to reduce greenhouse gas emissions from the landfill by over 80%, and also reduce the cost of supplying and installing the final cover. And so this phase 2 is to complete a pilot, essentially installing the bog cover over a portion of the landfill and monitoring its performance over a 1-year period, so to cover all 4 seasons. And yeah, and if you're not familiar with the biocover, and it's pretty new to me as well, it's essentially a mix of soil, aggregate, and biosolids. So this will also be beneficially reusing District of Seashell biosolids in the mix, and to replace is an alternative to a conventional landfill cover, which is usually clay or a synthetic liner. So as I mentioned, it has a lot of potential to reduce greenhouse gases, and it is substantially less expensive to install. So this pilot will test its effectiveness, and if successful, and it's relatively unproven in our wetter climate, is quite proven in drier climates. And if successful, then we could move forward at the end of the pilot and apply to use as final cover for the landfills. And as far as the RFP, we received 2 proposals, one from Spurling Hansen Associates and the other from Tetra Tech, and led by purchasing. The evaluation committee is recommending that we award a contract to Spurling Hansen Associates, who the district is quite familiar with, and it's just within budget. Not a lot of contingency, but staff are confident that we'll complete the project within our funding limits. So the recommendations is in front of you, and I'm available to take any questions.
Thank you. That was quite thorough. Yes, I see Director McMahon has a question.
Yeah, it's really nice to hear win-win stories here occasionally. It's interesting to me that this is a fairly new approach, because nothing that's being used in the bio cover is like high-tech or anything, but it's intriguing that so going forward, this could be built into our practice as we build up our landfill. Is that the way it could be when we get a new landfill? That the bio cover would go on as the landfill is piling up there? Is that what we're thinking we would be doing in the future?
Staff?
The bio cover is used as final cover, so it'll be the top layer to cap a complete landfill. So we're looking at utilizing a bio cover for the existing landfill, and yeah, definitely if it's successful, we can use it for all future closures.
Yes, another question, Director McMahon?
Yeah, and as a follow-up, what about post-closure? Like if you wanted to do that to Pender Harbor? Or is the value of it only in the first few years of the landfill closure?
That question is probably better for our landfill staff to answer, but Pender landfill is already closed, so it already has the final closure on it. So it's already capped, essentially. So I don't think there would be any additional benefit to putting an additional bio cover on top of that.
Thank you. Any further questions? Yes, Director Woods.
Yes, I was just wondering if Sperling Hansen has used this particular type of biocover elsewhere.
Yes, staff, please.
Sperling Hansen itself, I know in their proposal, had a reference for a pilot that they did on the island. So they have studied it, they have used it, and like I said, it is utilized in drier climates.
Thank you. Director McMahon, you have another question?
No, I was actually going to do a motion, although I don't think Vancouver Island is a drier climate. But I'd like to move the recommendations on page 25.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Yes. Director White, any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote on it. All in favor? Any opposed? No, that passes. Thank you very much. We like good news. Okay, so we're into item number 7, which is the 2023 Union of British Columbia Municipalities resolutions. And it's pages 27A and C of our additional changed agenda. And our corporate officer will introduce that for us, please.
Thank you, Chair. So these resolutions are coming forward for the board to review and finalize them before they go forward to the UBCM convention happening in September. And I will note that today is the final day to finalize these resolutions, as the deadline is June 30th. And there's not another board meeting before the deadline. So.
Thank you. Is there any questions from directors? No, it looks straightforward then. Can I have a motion to accept the... Oh, sorry, Director McMahon has a question.
No, I think these look really, really good. We're following up on a previous ICI motion that we did, didn't we? When did we do the previous one?
Corporate officer?
My recollection is that was submitted in 2020.
That's a little while ago, isn't it?
And
Yes.
as a follow-up, I remember even at that time that imminently the province said that Recycling BC was going to do something about this, and I take it nothing has happened. We're still stuck.
Yes, corporate officer? The answer is yes. Okay. So would someone like to make a motion to accept the recommendations on page 27A? Yes, Director White. Do I see a seconder? Yes, Director Woods. Any further discussion? No? All those in favor? Any opposed? No? That carries. Thank you very much. So now we're moving on to item number 8, which is Office of the CAO Monthly Report. This will be a verbal report. So CAO McKinley, please.
Thank you very much, Chair, and recognizing that I do actually know how to operate a keyboard. I know that I would prefer to do these in writing, but I'm coming in hot with another verbal. The theme of this month's report is collaboration, and I was thinking a lot about it in the last few weeks. In so many ways, we're collaborating more with our friends and neighbors and partners than we ever have, and for good reason. Some of it's incredibly important, and I wanted to highlight a few of the areas where this collaboration has really been paying dividends of late. The first one you heard a little bit about this morning, and we've been hearing about it a lot, but that's the Church Road Wellfield, which is so close to getting over the finish line for receiving our permission to turn that on as we look forward, or we look ahead to entering stage 2 over the next few weeks. We have had an unprecedented amount of collaboration with our partners at the province of BC. I know that the board and our MLA, our ministers, have worked incredibly well together. We've got our project team and staff from the province have set aside all of their other priorities to try to get this over the finish line. They're working nights, they're working weekends, and if we can We just need one more push to get this to the finish line with a target of June 30th to have permission to operate that well when we enter stage 2. And that's really exciting. Another area where the amount of collaboration that's occurring has been incredibly positive is through the water summits. And not just the elected officials from Shechelle Nation and the SCRD, the District of Sechelt and the town of Gibson's working incredibly well together. The level of collaboration at the staff level has been amazing as well, and we look forward to bringing some reports to you in the very near future, targeting a pretty significant ask to the Disaster Mitigation Fund, a major grant program that we're looking to get in place. I think their funding, or the application deadline's on the 19th of July. We've kicked off, it's taken a while to get started, but we've kicked off the board strategic planning process, which is really exciting. And we've had our first few sessions, and again, it's a lot of collaboration. Maybe other places, there's different ways to do board strategic planning, but I really appreciate the collaborative approach where we're working with staff, and SLT's working closely with the board to try to develop a plan that moves the vision forward for the people of the Sunshine Coast together. And the other thing that we're looking forward to bringing to the board in the very near future that's been a really good example of collaboration is all the work that's been going on in the development approvals process review that the board approved. And that's been incredible, working with building staff, planning staff, the development community, other, getting input from so many other areas, and we're going to be looking forward to bringing you the final recommendations and some ideas for implementation of that in the very near future. And finally, in emergency preparedness, we have been getting run down over the last few years with emergency operations center deployments, one after the other, and it's the same people often that are doing the heavy lifting. They're leaving the job that was keeping them very busy to take over one of the key roles in the emergency operations center. We've expanded our crew in some ways this year by working more closely with our partners in the other local governments, and even casting a net outside of local government to people that are qualified and willing to help us out from the community. We're hoping that this year, we're hoping that we don't have long periods of deployment in the Emergency Operations Center, but if we do, we feel confident that we have a larger roster of people to draw from that aren't going to be such a drain on the important resources we need to drive the rest of our work forward. So those are a few of the things I wanted to share. I've just been feeling really grateful for the amount of partnership and collaboration that's been occurring over the last little while. Thank you.
Thank you. That was, directors, do you have any questions of our CAO? No? Okay. Well, thank you, CAO. And we'll move on to motions. We have a motion 8A, that a special board meeting be scheduled for 1:30 p.m. on Thursday, July 6th, 2023. Corporate Officer, could you provide a little background for us?
Thank you, Chair. I just would like to add a little more context to this motion when it's adopted, so if I may. That a special board meeting be scheduled for 1:30 p.m. on Thursday, July 6th, to be held electronically and in person in the boardroom of the SCRD Administration Office at 1975 Field Road.
Thank you. Can someone make that motion? Yes, Director White, seconded Director Gabius. Any further discussions? Yes. Director Stamford, please.
Why?
What's it for?
Corporate Officer, the question was asked, why?
The focus of the meeting will be water supply.
Sorry, what was that? Water supply. What's that water? That's not much of a surprise, actually. Okay, any other questions? No? Well, let's vote on it. All those in favor? Any opposed? No, that carries. Thank you. I got to turn my page now. Oh boy. We're now on to bylaws. What's that? Pardon?
I have a bunch. I have
Yeah.
a question about one of them, but
We're going to try a new process here, but I'd like to start by saying that directors can request that any bylaw be pulled from any of the blocks that I'm proposing. So if you want to pull any of the blocks from the block I'm proposing, let me know, and we'll pull it for more discussion. So the first one is item number 9, which is Saginaw Ridge Community Sewage Treatment System Service Amendment Bylaw number 1087-1/2023. And Corporate Officer Reed, I believe, will introduce this for us, please.
Thank you, Chair. The SCRD has been requested to extend the boundary for the Saginaw Ridge Community Sewage Treatment System Service area in order to add 2 new properties to the service. Requests to amend a service boundary to either add or remove parcels may be addressed through a petition process. Attachment A of this report sets out the high-level steps involved in that process. Sufficient petition has been received from the property owner, and as a result, staff are bringing forward a bylaw to request 3 readings. Should those readings pass, the bylaw will be brought back to a future board meeting, likely the next board meeting, for final adoption, and it will also require the signed consent from the participating area director, in this case, the director from Area A.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions on this? Pardon? Yes, Director McMahon.
yes, this seems very straightforward, and the process outlined was good. I was just wondering which are the new properties, because the map on page 32 doesn't actually, well, obviously it's part of the bylaw, but it doesn't tell us which is being added. I was curious.
Yes, Corporate Officer.
We will have someone from Infrastructure Services identify which parcels are new to the service area. I don't have that information.
Yes, I actually know the answer to that, but I can't identify it on the map because there's no number. Let's see, where's that map that we were looking at there? Ted? 32. I can tell you which ones are being added. If you look at the map and everything is dark there, dark gray, the 2 that are being added are the 2 on the bottom right. Those are the ones that are being added. It's known as Veranda Ridge.
Above the road.
Yeah, it's that squiggly road that's on the right, goes through the 2 pieces of property. So those are the 2 that's being added.
Great.
You good? Okay. Good. So I could use a motion on page 28. Oh, Director Woods made that motion. Do I have a second? Sorry, you have a question? Oh, sorry. Okay, yes.
I'm just wondering about the bylaw where it says the monies in reserve fund will only be used for, should that more clearly state that it should be used post-expansion development? Because as far as I'm aware, the developer's responsible for the installation costs. Is that correct?
Sorry, Corporate Officer?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Yes. Could you tell us which page you're referring to, please?
Sorry, I'm looking at the bylaw creation later on for Saginaw Ridge there, and in terms of the reserve fund, I'm just wondering if it should state in that section that it should be post-development and installation, or are we not discussing that as well? Sorry.
I do believe she's Director Woods is talking about the bylaw itself yet, that we haven't quite got to yet. Is that correct?
Sorry, I may be getting ahead of myself, yes.
Yeah.
So the bylaw itself has been reviewed by the province, so the bylaw is correct in its current form. I can verify that.
Okay, thank you.
Good, thank you.
Oh,
I
okay.
do,
I think you're looking ahead on the agenda, correct? They're not related.
Thank you.
But not to what they're deciding.
okay, we're good now. I was hesitant to proceed without our CAO, but CAO, I actually had answered the question, so we're good. And so, I believe Director McMahon, you made a recommendation to accept.
Yes, I was going to move the recommendations on page 28.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a seconder? Yes, Director Gabius. Any further discussions? Hearing none, we'll vote on it. All in favor? Any opposed? No, that carries. Okay, so there's a great flow chart there, which I really did like on page 30. I'm saving that sucker. And we're now on to item number 9, which is on page 31. And I would make a motion that the report titled Saginaw Ridge Community Sewage Treatment System Service Boundary Extension be received for information, and that Saginaw Ridge Community Sewage Treatment System Service Amendment Bylaw Number 1087.1 of 2023 be considered for 3 readings. So I've made that motion. Can I have a seconder, please? Yes? Any discussions on that then? Then all directors, 1 vote each. Let's have a vote. All in favor? Any opposed? No, that one carries. Thank you. Did I get that right? I think I did. Go on to what? Oh, now we did the bylaw. I messed up. Okay, so we're on to the bylaw now. She said I did it twice, so we're sure of that one. Okay, we're on to item number 9, continued, and that's page 31. And so the motion I'd like to make that the Saginaw Ridge Community Sewage Treatment System Service Amendment Bylaw Number 1087.1 of 2023 receive first reading, second reading, and third reading, and it's all directors, 1 vote each. Any discussion? Seeing none, can I see a vote for in favor, please? Yes, all 3 readings at once. Any opposed? No? Okay, thank you, that passes. So now we're on to agenda items 10 and 11. And it's a block, and it's Annex G, pages 33, and Annex H, page 34. Everybody clear on that one? So it's a block. If you want to pull either one, you can. I see no one looking to pull them. So I will read the motion then. I make a motion that Area A Bicycle and Walking Path Operation Reserve Fund Establishment Bylaw Number 755, 2023, and Saginaw Ridge Operating Reserve Fund Establishment Bylaw Number 778 of 2023 receive first reading, second reading, third reading, and adoption. I'd like to call the vote. Well, first of all, I should ask if there's any questions, discussion. No, I see none. Okay, I'd like to call the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? That passes. Okay, so we're moving on to agenda items numbers 12 to 14, and this is another block. It's Annex I, J, and K of pages 35, 36, and 37. Everybody good? Okay. I'll read the motion. That Civic Address Operating Reserve Fund Establishment Bylaw number 751 of 2023 and Regional Recreation Programs Operating Reserve Fund Establishment Bylaw number 756 of 2023 and Dakota Ridge Operating Reserve Fund Establishment Bylaw number 757 of 2023 receive first reading, second reading, third reading, and adoption. And it's all directors weighted vote.
Do I get 6 on this one?
Beg pardon?
Do I get 6 on this one?
Yeah.
6 votes?
Yeah, sure. No. I think you'd get 3.
Oh,
Yes. Yes, I see that moved. As we got a seconder, do we have any discussion? No? All those in favor? Any opposed? That passes. Thank you. Okay, so now we're on to item number 15, which is Annex L, pages 38. And Corporate Officer, could you give us an intro on this, please?
Thank you, Chair. Regional districts use security issuing bylaws to access long-term debenture debt for themselves, but also for our member municipalities. This is administered through the Municipal Finance Authority of BC, or MFA, as you may know it, and it's done for all local governments in the province. Staff have received a request from the Town of Gibsons for the board to adopt a security issuing bylaw in order for the town to partake of the fall 2023 issue through the Municipal Finance Authority. The SCRD has received all required documentation from the town to authorize this borrowing. Staff are recommending 3 readings and adoption of security issuing bylaw number 759 in support of the Town of Gibson's borrowing for capital improvement financing.
Thank you. Is there any questions? Seeing none, I will read a proposed, sorry, yes, Director Gabius?
Director
Oh,
Stanford?
sorry.
That's okay.
Director Stanford?
Are we allowed to ask why? Is it for one capital project or is it for a bunch? Is this something exciting? Is this?
I can
through
guarantee
this-
it's something exciting in the world of asset management.
Corporate Officer, is there an answer to that question? Yes.
Thank you, Chair. So it's for multiple, I think, infrastructure upgrades. So this is something that's been going on for quite some time. So we've been aware it's just the final security issuing.
Thank you. I can see, yes. It's covering a bunch of history, I think. Yes. Okay, so that the motion that I'm going to be looking for to be made is that the report titled Town of Gibson's Borrowing be received for information and that the board consent to the long-term borrowing of $1,493,000 over a 20-year term for the Town of Gibson's. And further, that Sunshine Coast Regional District Security Issuing Bylaw number 779, 2023 be given 3 readings and be adopted. Can I have that motion, please? Yes, Director Gabius, seconded Director White. Any further discussions? No. Okay, we'll vote on it. All those in favor? Any opposed? No, that passes. Thank you. So then we're on to item number 15, continued, and that's on page 40 for anybody that would like to go there. And the motion I'm looking for is that the Sunshine, sorry?
Didn't we just do that?
No. It was recommendations from the report we voted on, and now this is the actual bylaw. Yes. Okay, a motion that the Sunshine Coast Regional District Security Issuing Bylaw number 779, 2023 receive first reading, second reading, third reading, and adoption. Any discussions? No. Can I see the motion? Director McMahon, can I have a seconder? Director Gabius? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? No, thank you. That passes. Lots faster than last time anyways. Okay, so we're on to, now we're on to item number 16, which is Annex M on page 45. Yes. And I'd like someone to make a motion that Building Inspection Operating Reserve Fund Establishment Bylaw number 752 of 2023 receive first reading, second reading, third reading, and adoption. Oh, sorry. Director McMahon?
Yeah, I'm just going to point out that there is a typo on page 45. It says Reserve Fund for Hillside Building Inspection. It should, I think, just be building inspection. So could we amend that to correct it?
Sorry, which, where are you referring? Thank you. I'm
Page 45,
Yes.
third line.
third line. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the title, a bylaw to establish an operating reserve fund for Hillside.
Okay. It's not for Hillside Building, I don't believe. Yes, corporate officer?
I'm not seeing the error. Regardless, we can correct it. We have authority to do that via the procedures bylaw. So we'll ensure that if the word is in there, it's removed.
Yep.
It was already corrected last week, so you're looking at the previous version.
Okay, I've just been informed that it actually was corrected last week. We're just a little older agenda. Okay, thank you. Any further? So I believe we have a motion and we have a seconder. Am I correct on that?
No, we didn't.
We didn't get that far? Okay. Okay, Director McMahon is moving it, Director Gabius is seconding it. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That passes. Thank you. We're now on to item number 17, which is Annex N on page 46. And I'll be looking for someone to make a motion that School Facilities Joint Use Operating Reserve Fund Establishment Bylaw number 753 of 2023 receive first reading, second reading, third reading, and adoption. Can I have someone make that motion, please? Yes, Director Gabius, the seconder. Yes, Director Woods. Any further discussion? No? All those in favor? Any opposed? No, that passes. Okay. So now we're on to item number 18, which is Annex O, page 47. Yes, Director McMahon, you have a question on that one?
Yeah, I did have a question because we don't operate the library. We're kind of a flow-through in terms of the library operations, so do we need a reserve fund?
Yes, CFO Perot, please.
Yes, thank you. So the regional district provides operational funding to these Gibson's District Public Library, but it also is the owner and operator of the building. And so we have and will likely need in the upcoming years potentially some operational funding or for regular maintenance items or maintenance items that are not cyclical. And so that would be the reason for the operational reserve. So instead of having to tax for those, this is another source of revenue for us to do that. In the past, we have used these types of funds for things like the exploration of potentially expanding the building. When you do feasibility, you can't use capital reserves. So that was a good source. So this is really just housekeeping in the sense where we've had funds that have been appropriated for Gibson's, but this is actually setting up an actual statutory reserve.
Yes, thank you. Any other questions? Okay, I'll be looking for someone to make a motion that Gibson's and Area Library Operating Reserve Fund Establishment Bylaw number 745 of 2023 receive first reading, second reading, third reading, and adoption. Can someone make that motion, please? Yes, Director McMahon. Can I have a seconder, please? Yes, Director Woods. Any further discussion? No? Okay, I'll ask for the vote. All those in, oh, yes, Director White?
Participants are EF and Gibson's?
Yes, sorry. It's a weighted vote, and it's E, F, and Gibson's.
I'll second it.
Oh, yeah, okay, you'll need a second.
I heard you say Director Woods, so that's why we.
Yes, that was a mistake. I agree. So
Director Stanford.
Director Stanford made Director White made the motion, Director Stanford seconded it. I've got that correct? Both are participants? Now I got my eye on this. Thank you, Director White. That was a good catch. We all would have been voting on your bylaw.
We voted for it.
All those in favor? All three? Okay, thank you. No opposed. That passes. Oh, wow.
He's not in that function.
Thank you to staff for providing that script and speeding that up for us. That was very much appreciated. So now we're on to what everybody's favorite, and that is directors' reports. And the chair is going first. I always go last. I'd like to report that I attended the presentation at Connor Park, and I found it very well done, and I found it very informative. And I stuck around only for an hour or so, but I really enjoyed the conversation with everybody. And everybody was quite respectful on both sides, which I tell you is very appreciated, and it's a good way for them to get their points across. So well done to director and staff. And I was very happy to attend. Thank you. So that's my report. So now, Director Paul, we're going first. Me and you, we're usually last.
Good afternoon, everyone. Mine's pretty basic. It's just getting ready for school graduation ceremony and the cultural stuff. So that's pretty much it.
Okay, thank you. Nice report. Just about as sweet as mine. Okay, so we'll start from the other end of the table here now. So Director Inkster, please.
Okay. Just a quick reminder to everyone, so the IA days have started, number of events that people have been starting to go to. I'd encourage the board to go to those. It ends in Canada Day Parade. I encourage the board and/or the SCRD to be involved in that in any way, board directors and/or afloat. Be good to see people from outside Seashelt. You know, there's groups involved, but also to see government or organizations. Why not? Why not participate and let everyone know who you are? And then Festival of Written Arts tickets have gone on sale, and festivities throughout Seashelt throughout the summer. So you're all always continually invited. Thanks.
Thank you very much. It's a good reminder. Director Stanford, please.
Thank you. I attended the West House Sound Community Association meeting last week and enjoyed a presentation by the Gibson's Heritage Society. There's already people in the community talking about the heritage potential of Hopkins Landing Dock. I've worked for the Hopkins and Gambier communities to illustrate the importance of the Hopkins Landing Wharf, and I appreciate the support the board has demonstrated to date by passing the EAS recommendations this afternoon. I attended the rural transportation discussion by ICE-T last week and found the discussion around flexibility between private-public transportation options interesting. I also attended the Ferry Advisory Committee meeting in conjunction with BC Ferries engagement session in Seasheld on Saturday. It was good to see new staff BC Ferry staff filling out the community support functions, but BC Ferries has a long way to go to provide the terminal and approach supports necessary during peak times, as there just isn't the appropriate facilities outside the terminals for long waits. Also, there's a lot of discussion around the loss of the 5:30 run out of Horseshoe Bay during the summer schedule. That's it.
Thank you. Yeah, ferries are always a concern. It's a tough one. Director McMahon, please.
Yes, I'd like to thank the Sechelle Nation for inviting us to join them for their swearing in of Chief and Council at the Longhouse last week. That was very interesting, and congratulations to Director Paul on his naming ceremony. That was really interesting to attend. I also attended the transportation meeting, and I will second Director Stanford's comments on that. It was interesting, and it really emphasized that we operate in silos. And in a small community, we just can't do that. We can't get things done if we are all operating in our separate orbits. And so we need to find some more creative solutions to our transportation challenges. I attended a webinar on 2 days ago held by SFU on empowering communities to endure climate disasters. And it had some sobering observations from people who have lived through having their communities burned to the ground. One is that you can have a plan, but it may not survive the first 20 minutes of the emergency. Another is that there may be no warning. Lillooet had no warning. And a third observation was that our emergency programs rely heavily on volunteers, such as firefighters and emergency social service program volunteers, but they're not necessarily available in the middle of an emergency. They may be in it themselves, trying to get their families out. And so the first response is actually the people who are right there on the ground, yourself and your neighbors. And I don't think we think about that nearly enough. So talking of emergencies, though this was a very small one, we had a wildfire on Mount Elphinstone on Sunday, probably caused by a lightning strike. But one of the things I learned from that is that BC Wildfire has an app you can put on your phone that will tell you if a fire occurs in your area. So you may want to download that. I attended our Elphinstone Community Association meeting last night, and I gave them a presentation entitled Fun with Property Taxes. And so I hope everybody is a lot more educated now, and I pulled extensively from our financial plan and some from the annual plan. So thank you.
Follow-up, if that's possible.
Yes. Director Stanford, please.
Just want to follow up with potential fires and the wildfires, is a note that the campfire ban has been lifted in the rural areas on the islands, and it's a huge concern because we just finally got the message through that there was a campfire ban, and to have it lifted causes a lot of confusion. And we'd like to see some kind of coordination between the different levels of fire announcements or bans, because it is different between the mainland and the islands. And if we could work on that, any way we could advocate to have a consistent message across and not just lift it for a few days on the islands. Thank you.
Yes, good point. Thank you, Director McMahon. Always interesting and direct to the point for business for our board. I appreciate that. Director Gavious?
Thank you, Chair. It was quite an interesting 2 weeks, but I really enjoyed Director White's little report, the written report. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put everything in my newsletter, which should come out soon, and I'll circulate it, and please subscribe. I will mention the community engagement event yesterday, and I will echo Chair Lee's comments. It was really well done. It was incredibly well attended. It was overall quite positive in the sense that people were able to ask their questions and make their concerns known, and I think that's really empowering for the community, that, you know, their voice actually matters quite a bit and will inform this project. So I'm looking forward to the next one, and thank you to the directors who attended, and to all the residents who came. And with that, congratulations to Director Paul also, and thank you to the Shishal Nation for the invitation. It was an absolutely wonderful event, and I was so honored to be able to attend. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Director Gabius. Director Woods, please.
As I am just filling in for Kelly today, I will, as always, direct you to taking a look at Boot Tales, as Kelly gives a good synopsis of what's going on in there. But I do have one thing to say. Trans Mountain is asking our community for engagement and feedback on their existing shorelines condition report, and that is due before Monday, June 26th. Director Kelly and I will post the link in Roberts Creek Speaks community Facebook page. Please take the time to show or share your feedback. Thank you.
Thank you. Very timely. Yes, Director White, please.
I provided a written report that I sent around to everybody. I don't think I have anything to really add to it, but I could answer any questions if anyone has. Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Does any directors have any questions about that? Yes, Director McMahon.
If anyone in our viewing audience would like to read your report, how would they get a copy of it?
Well, I am able to get put the report on the Town of Gibson's agendas for the town stuff, so some of it's duplicated there. So that's the way. That's the only way. There's no way of getting it on the SCRD agenda at this point, but maybe we'll fix that in the future, or address it in the future, I should say. But that's not possible right now.
Okay, thank you. Always interesting for updating. Yes, Corporate Officer, please.
I just want to signal that we're open to that process change, and we're willing to facilitate putting forward written reports for directors on the agenda should the directors decide this is a change they'd like to make.
Yes, we'll consider that and we'll follow up with a motion if that's what we would like. I think later on we can discuss that and then we'll go forward. Thank you very much. Yes, seeing no more, we will move on. The next item is new business. I don't believe there is any new business. Yes, Director McMahon?
I just have a very minor follow-up item. I would like to refer the resolution we just passed on ICI to the PTAC committee. Because we had a conversation at the last PTAC meeting about ICI, and I think it would be helpful for them to know about it. Thank you.
Corporate Officer, would you need a motion or could you just do that?
Thank you, Chair. A motion is always helpful to direct staff action.
Director McMahon, would you like to make a motion?
Move that staff add the ICI resolution for UBCM to an upcoming PTAC agenda.
I see a seconder. Yes, thank you. Director Gabius. Any discussions on that? I will call the vote. All those in favor? Any opposed? No? That passes. Thank you. Okay. So that completes the open portion of our meeting, and we'll be going in camera. And so I'd like a motion that the public be excluded from attendance at the meeting in accordance with Section 91A, G, K, and 2B of the Community Charter. Could I have that motion, please? Director Gabius, seconded Director McMahon. I'll just call the vote. All those in favor? Okay, that's passed. Now, before going in camera, I'd like to know, there's no one in the gallery, but is there in the virtual gallery? I believe we have some people in the virtual gallery, so let me just look. Yes, we have Mr. Dix, I believe, would like to speak, so could we put him in here for us? Ah, I see him there. Okay. Mr. Dix.
I didn't intend to speak. I just wanted to say hi. I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the problem is that once we close the gallery, you can't get back in. So that's, if you'd like to come in at the end of the meeting and watch us adjourn, you have to voluntarily leave. Any other from the virtual gallery? No. Okay. So if you could, everybody could just disconnect on the virtual gallery, that would be cool. Thank you. We're back to the open meeting of June 20, open board, regular board meeting of June 22nd, 2023. I would like a motion to adjourn the meeting, please. Director McMahon, seconded by Director Gabius. All those in favor? Any opposed? No. Never get any opposed to that adjournment. Okay, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.